Ron.
Here.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Ron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Ron.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Hello. Hi, everybody. For those who don't know me, my name is Marilyn Honig. I have a channel called Coffee, Cults, and Crafts. I am a cult survivor myself, not of Scientology, but we're actually going to talk about that today, about my background in Christianity. Unfortunately, my brand of Christianity took it way too far into being a cult, but actual Christianity, I don't believe is a cult, and it's very mainstream. It's one of the largest religions in the world. And we've heard from a lot of ex-Scientologists and also Scientology propaganda kind of pulling people in from off the street and saying, hey, you can be a Scientologist and still be a Christian. So we're going to explore some of the, I would say, the overview of what most Christians would agree that most Christians believe, as far as the basic tenets. Their Christianity is a big umbrella. There's a whole spectrum of practices and beliefs, but pretty much there's some basic tenets of Christianity that most will agree with, and I want to talk about whether or not they are compatible with Christianity. Now, I'm still here because I saw someone ask. Let's get some housekeeping out of the way, because yes, I'm still here. Aaron is still in jail. I'm one person that's helping to keep his channel going. There's a whole great team, and the Yazuman. How much longer is Aaron going to stay locked up? He should have been out already. What's the holdup? So the holdup is that he had his pre-trial hearing. He was jailed for supposedly breaking the terms of his bail, or what do they call it? They call it something else, but anyways, I call it bail. And his bond. So he had another hearing, I think a bond hearing or a motion hearing this past Friday. The judge locked him back up till the 5th. So we're hoping that he gets out on the 5th, which is this coming Friday. So he's got one more week, hopefully, crossing our fingers that he'll be able to be out until his trial date. So we're just, I don't know the answer, but we'll keep you posted as we learn updates. So okay, so we already got an answer from Linda Lou. Answer: absolutely no way, you cannot have two gods. Okay, we will talk about that. So I don't have anyone in the background here. Giorgio is on the road, so I'm on my own. I'm going to try to look at the chat as much as I can. I've got, some materials I've been working on to share with you. And I'm going to just take my time because there actually is quite a bit, but I hope you find it interesting. And I definitely want to get your input. If I don't get to your question or comment, please put it in the comments later on, because I will absolutely read them and I'll comment on those as well. So yes, hit that like button, please. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Good to see you all. Yes, God. They say God is love. We're going to talk about that. Okay. So I wanted to do like some type of slideshow or chart or graph, but I just didn't have time to do that. So I'm just going to go through my notes, and I'd love to get your input. Okay. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of your comments. Okay, so the first thing that strikes me as being a difference in Scientology and Christianity, even though they do both believe that you are at some capacity a spiritual being, that you have a spirit, a soul, a body. I was always taught that your soul is your mind, will, and emotions, and like what makes you, your personality, things like that. And your thoughts and things. Your spirit is like what lives on in you. That's the spiritual part of you that is like immortal. And then there's your body, which is pretty basic. It's your body. And in Christianity, they believe your body is a temple, so you want to keep it, pure and in good condition. Okay, so reincarnation is something that I think is probably the first thing that popped into my mind. We were taught that there was no such thing as reincarnation. And I just want to say, I'm not, I have things pop into my head, scriptures that pop into my head, and I don't want to preach at anybody. I'm in no way trying to proselytize. I'm no way preaching at anybody. I'm in no way disrespecting anybody's religion either. But I'm just kind of giving you an overview of what, what I've learned and what I think I know. Okay, so I was taught that, there's a scripture that says, is appointed unto man once to die, and after that, the judgment. So you live once, and God judges you based on how you behaved um, as a person, as a human. And we'll talk about that, how you were judged by your actions and how you treat people. And also the fact that you are a Christian, that you are redeemed, or you are, quote, saved. So basically you live once, you're judged, and you either go to heaven or you go to hell. Or if you're a Catholic, you may believe in something like purgatory. I'm not too familiar with that, but basically most Christians, or any Christian I know, does not believe in reincarnation. So as far as I know of Scientology, they believe that you are billions or trillions of years old, that you just keep coming back. And we come back is the Sea Org slogan, right? So you die, you drop the body, you go to something called what do they call it, transplant station, and you are wiped clean of all your memories of this life. And then you drop back down to earth, you pick up another body, and you just start it all over again. So that's one thing that I don't think is compatible, So how would you be a Scientologist and a Christian at the same time and hold two opposite beliefs like that? Um, the other one, I think that I'm thinking of some people in my family that, like, if say I became a Scientologist and they looked into it, the reincarnation thing would bother them. Also, the occult, not cult, but occult background that um, that LRH came from, with Jack Parsons and the black magic and the rituals, that something about there was a woman that was supposedly possessed by the devil. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. And there was something about the bride or of Babylon, and Babylon was a bad thing in the Bible, and the black magic and all the things. That's not something that most Christians I knew or know would touch with a 10-foot pole. That's not something that they would be, and they would not like, something that came from that. We weren't allowed to play with Ouija boards. We weren't allowed to do anything like that whatsoever. It was something that it was like always called of the devil. I couldn't even listen to Ozzy Osbourne or things like that because he supposedly was of the devil, So those were things that would not have been compatible. And again, LRH was not a very nice guy. I guess he got like some kind of rivalry with Jack Parsons, and Sarah Northrop, who was his second wife, that he ended up not claiming, but he was married to her and his first wife at the same time, as far as I know. And Sarah Northrop became his wife, and that did not work out. And he, the rest is history. There's a lot that happened with that. So, oh yeah, I wrote it down. The goddess of Babylon. Yeah, that was one of their weird rituals. Okay. Um, to go along with that, I don't know. I mean, maybe there's a lot of Christians that believe in aliens, but I was taught that they didn't exist. Um, we we weren't really allowed to watch a lot of what they would call worldly shows. So, I mean, I snuck and watched like Star Trek: The Next Generation and stuff, but that was all fantasy. It was, to us, it wasn't real. Um, and that brings me to the whole thing about God. 'Cause someone had said something about about only having one God. I remember hearing a lot of the exes talk about how in Scientology they believe that you are a god, you are your own god, and as you go up the bridge, you become this like you have these superpowers, and which we haven't seen it demonstrated because it's a bunch of bull, but that your power comes from within and from you, like getting rid of your becoming clear, right? And getting rid of your reactive mind, and then you become this like super human, right? We didn't believe that. We believe that any superpowers such as healing powers or what you call it I would call it Christian ESP, but prophecy, things like that came directly from God and not anything, in within us. Okay, it's funny because I have not I'm exercising a muscle that I have not for a very, very long time, but it's all kind of like in there, which is funny. So thank you for bearing with me. Okay, so the superpowers and the aliens. Yeah, so we believed that there was only one God, that there was a God, because I know Scientologists don't really believe in God as we think of him, you know. Um the other thing is the whole, we talked about the reactive mind briefly. The reactive mind reminds me of what my ministers would have, my in my background would have called the sin nature, or the fallen nature, the flesh or the carnal nature, which is like the original sin was the sin in the garden. You've all heard of Adam and Eve, and Adam ate the apple that Eve took from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. She wasn't supposed to. The serpent, who represents the devil in the Bible, talked him into it. It's always a woman's fault, right? Talked him into it, and then all of a sudden we're all born with sin. I've heard it said that Scientology believes that everyone is inherently good and they're born good, but they've got this darn, pesky reactive mind and engrams and things like that they have to get rid of and become clear. Well, we believe, and then they're mocking it up on something like that, whatever, the clear cognition. But what Christians believe, well, I used to believe, I should say, um, that everyone keeps asking, why is Aaron in jail? If someone can just, I wish we could pin something to the top, but it had to do with protesting. But we've done several videos about it if you want to go back. Sorry, I'm just trying to kind of keep my eye on the chat. Where was I? Yeah, so we believed that you're born innocent to a degree, like there's an age of accountability. So you're basically born with sin, but you're not really accountable until I think it's like the age eight or nine. So if you were to die before then, you wouldn't go to hell if you didn't accept Jesus as your savior. You wouldn't, like, or whatever brand of Christianity believes, bring, like, gets you to heaven. But born agains believe that they have to accept Jesus into their heart. And that's another thing I was thinking, is like the remedy for your reactive mind is Dianetics, right? The remedy for your sin nature is a savior, is Jesus Christ. So again, I'm not preaching, I'm just telling you why Christianity and Scientology, in my mind, is not compatible. So I think they're full of crap. Yeah. How did Wallace get into the argument? Right? Yeah, exactly. When I tried to ask, it was just like, well, God said it and I believe it, and that's the end of it. I've heard that so many times. Okay. What's the next one? Okay, so the next thing I put is their approach to mental health. Christians, I don't believe are as strict. I think they used to be a little more strict about it, but that again is a broad spectrum. In my experience, I know Christian psychologists and Christian counselors and even psychiatrists, and I have known Christians to take some medication to help with their mental health. They're definitely not as strict about it and they don't believe in alien psychiatrists ruining mankind. They don't believe that. So that's another thing that I don't think, and I don't know any Christian that would have treated Lisa McPherson that way, which brings me to my next thing. Okay, I'll do this one first and then I'll do the other one about charity. about how people are treated. I mean, it kind of depends as far as like sin goes. Like if something happens to you in my cult, that was a culty thing. That like if I got sick, it was because I was being disobedient to God. Most Christians aren't like that. They're not very uncharitable and exacting like that. And I happen to know, just because I had to study the Bible so much, that the word charity, the root word is agape, which means God's love. There's 3 Greek words for love. There's you've heard of the city of Philadelphia. There's philo, which is the brotherly love, and then there's eros, which is romantic love or erotic love, and then there's agape, which is God's love, and that's also the word for charity. So um and I did look this up, that in the New Testament actually the love is used over 500 times, in depending on what translation you're looking at, over 500 times in just the New Testament, the small part of the end of the Bible where there's the red letters where Jesus talked. Okay, money. There's a very famous verse from the Bible that says, you can't serve God and mammon. Mammon is money or materialism. So, what is Scientology all about? I think they're all about the money. They are very pro quo. Is that how you say it? They charge for their services, and they really target people who are what the able make the able more able, right? So they don't want you if you're poor, and they certainly won't pour out their resources to help the poor. They claim to, they pretend to, they go to places like disaster uh, areas and give out water and touch assists and stuff, but that's really not what they're about. They look down on the disabled. They look down on people that are not able, because they want to make you more able. They want to take your money and enrich themselves to the point of credit card fraud, allegedly, and all the things, and letting people like the elderly go without and be abused, so, and neglected, which is horrific. um yes, so Christian charities are all over the place. I think of so many of them. You got the bell ringers, you've got the soup kitchens. In my community, there's a ton of churches that give out food and clothing and help, and even babysitting, like all kinds of things. They're very much do outreaches into the community. Okay. Okay, this one I've been thinking a lot about, because we talk about how Scientology covers up crimes, and they actually forbid people from going to the police when they're abused or a crime is committed against them by a Scientologist. And I think of the bull baiting and the stories that I've heard, the horrific stories, and even one recent thing I remember Natalie saying how she was a young teenager, she was a minor, and she would have to sit in a room with an older man, and he was confessing his self-pleasuring habits and gross sexual habits, and she had to sit there and write it down and ask him questions, and that's so inappropriate. And as much as I know that, oh, that's a good one too, thank you, Robert. Yeah, I'll definitely bring that one up when we start it. Okay. um Okay, as much as there have been many, 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 many scandals in the Christian churches with, um, you know, uh, R word and, you know, PDF files and all that stuff. There's been a lot of that, and it's horrible, and it has been covered up. It's definitely not something that is predicated by this kind of thing where you are sat in a room and across from somebody and they are basically sexually harassing you and saying horrible things to have you kind of flatline and not react. That's not something I've ever seen in Christianity. And in fact, it was one of those things where it was like, oh, guard your mind and thoughts. And because it says from it flows the issues of life. It's like you're supposed to think on good things. You're supposed to think. In fact, there's a verse that says, whatsoever things are true, lovely, pure, of good report, think about those things. Not like purposely think of the most horrible thing you could say to somebody to get them to not react. That's, I don't know. I just think that's horribly gross and wrong. The other thing is having purposely setting it up so a grown man is in a room, a locked room with a young girl, um 14, 15, 16 years old. That's not that, again, I think, and I'm kind of have my thinking in scriptures head turned on, brain part turned on, which I never do, guys. But there's something called the appearance of evil. You're supposed to stay away from the appearance of evil. So I know that well because I was basically having to, dress like a sack of potatoes and not like be, try to be unattractive as possible, not talk to men, not be in a room with like Duncan. My husband and I were practically engaged and we had to have like a chaperone sitting in a room with us when we couldn't be alone. We couldn't be alone. And if we wanted to go for a walk, we couldn't go on a back road. We had to be on like the highway where people could see us. And I remember when cars would go by and we would like look and make sure nobody was looking and Duncan would kiss me. I felt so guilty. I felt so bad about it. And we were literally like engaged then. So yeah, I mean, I just thought I would throw it out there because it just makes me bristle when I hear Scientologists say, "Oh yeah, we're so inclusive. We don't mind. You can be a Christian. You can still be a Christian." And I think of Joy Vila said that was something they said to her. And yeah, why couldn't you be alone? Because they were afraid that we would fall into sin, which fornication, that we would do the thing before we got married. So, and we weren't even really barely allowed to hold hands. I can't remember. I don't think we were even allowed to hold hands before we got married. Is that crazy? Yeah. So I'm just looking. Sorry guys, I really haven't started anything to speak of. So if you don't mind, I'll just kind of scroll down and see if I can find some questions and comments. And it with love, just took out a batch of lemon poppy seed. Well, that sounds good. Hey, Loretta, happy Saturday. The answer is no. I agree. I agree. Gobbling your muffins. That sounds good. Yeah, hit that like button. I know it's a weird time of day. I don't usually go live this time at all. Paul, yes, free AA run now. I agree. I agree. Just scrolling. Hey, Jojo. Thank you. Yeah, we had a nice Thanksgiving. Canadians had they have a Thanksgiving, right? In October, I think. Yep. Hey, Bilfy, good to see you. Hey, Hef. Hef, if you have any thoughts, write them in the chat because I know you have a lot of background in this too. I'm sure you have some good insights. Megan, Christianity is also called, some people believe that, and I think that's okay. I don't think that mainstream Christianity is a cult, but that's my opinion. I know a lot of great Christians, but I also know some not so. And I was in a Christian cult. I was in a very controlling, and it was almost like a Sea Org situation where I lived there for 5.5 years, did heavy labor, was very much brainwashed and mistreated. It was really awful. And we had the whole classic, the charismatic leader, authoritarian, very just oppressive. That's what was my experience. Yeah. Hey, one olive short of a pizza. I love that. So excited how Jenna's account is growing. I know, it's awesome. It's amazing. I had so much fun doing a reaction video the other night from this channel. Was it Please David? He did a comparison of the Scientology TikToks, particularly the ones from the Minnesota org, and Jenna Miscavige, and it was awesome. I loved it. It was just so much fun. He's funny too. It was just I thought it was entertaining because I had fun doing it. Hey, Sean? Many people on different YouTube channels have told me as a Catholic, I'm not welcome in their Christianity because I'm not like them. And I tell them, hey, we started this. Right. Yeah. I hate to see that. I mean, I think there's room for everybody, you know? Yeah, that's too bad. We were, what's funny is as a kid, my friends that were Catholic were just normal. I mean, they weren't like, holy rollers like like my church was, they were just kind of normal, And then there were like Baptists, they could be a little strict, but they didn't have the crazy like casting out demons that my church had, like the healings and the speaking in tongues, because we were like charismatic Pentecostals. Excuse me. And then there was like the Methodists and the Episcopalian, they were also kind of like normal. They weren't super strict or anything like the Catholics weren't either, that I knew at least. Hey, I'm sorry, I can't read the handle, but no, they can't be Christians. Being a Christian is more than just going to church, reading the Bible. You're taught not just to follow God's teaching, but to be a good person. You have to be a good person, kind, considerate, and caring. Yes, and I think we covered that about like especially about the charity and the loves. Like there's a verse that says God is love, so I don't think that's compatible with how Scientologists are taught to treat each other. The tattling through the KRs and all that. I mean, we had that in my cult. That wasn't mainstream Christianity, but we were rewarded for tattling on each other. It was very much a like authoritarian kind of spying type thing. It was awful. Hey, my honey's here. I'm way behind. Sorry, I'm just kind of scrolling because I want to. Why is the Scientology church empty? Right. Yeah, there are millions and millions and millions of Christians and, all different denominations, all different flavors, I would say, you know. That's a good point, Dave's deep dives. You can if you're a polytheist like Hindus, yeah. Or Buddhists, right? Do they believe in reincarnation? Abrahamic religions, no, exactly. Yep. I believe that too. I do too. I don't know what I would be. I think right now I'm probably like agnostic. Like I don't know what I believe. I'm sort of I think there's probably something out there, but yeah, I don't really consider myself a Christian, but I'm not antagonistic towards mainstream Christianity. I'm antagonistic towards religious cults or any kind of cult, and that's pretty much where I stand. You know, believe in personal freedom and freedom of thought, freedom of will. You know. Bilftology. Okay, maybe I'll join that. Bilftology is a hodgepodge of Christianity, free zone Scientology, and recognition of Clearwater Chad as the creator of the True 10X program foretold by prophets and sages. Yeah, I think, okay. I'm a Bilftologist. I'll call myself that. Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Actually, a lot of Catholics don't believe in purgatory either, kind of moved on from it. Right? Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of different things that I think have evolved over the years in different types of Christianity, different denominations. Um, I think there's still parts of Scientology, parts of Christianity, like sex, SECT, not SEX, that still believe in things like the demonology, like we did, and things like speaking in tongues, and excuse me, also being like antagonistic towards things like psychiatry. I didn't know a lot of people that took medications for their mental health. Nowadays, I do. I know quite a few Christians that do, and also their views on. Then that's a good thing too. I think I can't remember who brought that up. Let me think. I might have started it. Robert, yeah. Things like, yeah, abortion and the LGBTQ community. I know that in the Sea Org, they're very strict about no sex before marriage, but I don't think it's a morality thing. I think it's more of like a convenience thing. But yes, things like yeah, I don't want to say it again because I know it's not really something you're supposed to say on YouTube. But yes, hey Joel, hey friend, always great to see you, Maz. Hey, so good to see you here. Glad you and Duncan escaped and have a normal life now. Thank you. I am too. I am too. And honestly, it's kind of a big step to be able to talk about this because sometimes I find it kind of triggering. And I was joking last night of maybe watching the Chosen, but I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can. I might. And then I saw that it has like 7 seasons, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to sit through all that. But but Aaron's been talking about it. Yeah. No, when no Winona? Just remember Wyona, I'm sorry, Wyonative. Just remember God condemned man-made yeah, that's funny. That is a point, that I always think about when people talk about, like, Jesus, like, his character and the stories of Jesus and how he behaved versus organized religion, and there is a disconnect because, like, in the Bible, Jesus was kind of he wasn't kind of, he was antagonistic towards the religious leaders of the day, the Pharisees and the Sadducees and all that, and they ended up basically delivering him over to be crucified. So, yeah, I think you're right there. Oh, someone mentioned George Carlin. Yeah. But I think my son Carter has so many of his bits memorized. They are wild. Catholics, we do believe in evolution. Yeah. Right. Yeah, see, that's the thing about, like I said, there's, like, different, denominations and different, like, flavors of Scientology or of I keep calling it Scientology. I'm sorry, I don't mean to. Christianity, like, we believed in fundamentalism, which is basically if you're fundamental, you're kind of, like, the word for word, like, you believe the Bible, take it all of it literally. Um well, they couldn't take all of it literally because the Old Testament is pretty brutal, but they do believe in mostly in Christianity believes in creationism, but some people I think there's room in that belief for evolution because I've heard it said that like instead of saying like God created the earth in 7 days, it could be something like 7 phases, you know. I've had people, even in my adopted family, that have taught their kids that dinosaurs didn't exist. And my kids have had like little mini arguments with their cousins, and they're like, "We've seen the bones. They existed." And then their cousin would be like, "You're falling into the evolution trap." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" It's a thing. It's a thing. But I'm like, okay, they want to believe that dinosaurs weren't real. That's okay. But I think it's pretty obvious. Like, I don't know where the bones would have come from. So yeah. Huh? Okay. This is the new religion of Theobilphtology. We believe in one sign, the Yesco Almighty, the creator of Las Vegas. We believe in the signs one eternal court or cart, begotten, not made. Okay. All right, you'll have to produce your holy scriptures there. Okay, I'm just trying to. I'm seeing some responses to something, but I'm not sure what it was said. My children read Harry Potter, and yeah, we weren't allowed, like, for a while, as a kid. I remember, well, not even for a while, like, we were allowed to watch Disney movies, and all of a sudden we weren't, no Disney, because it was magic. Like, you couldn't watch anything about witches. We were allowed, believe it or not, we were allowed to do, like, early on when I first got into the foster home, we could go trick or treating, but we weren't allowed to do, we couldn't be a witch or anything like that, anything scary or magical. I don't think we could even be like a fairy or anything like that. We had to be like something like a clown or something like that, you know. And then in the cult, like, my children weren't allowed to go trick or treating. And then when we left, my youngest was 5, and he wanted to be an astronaut for his very first Halloween, and he was an astronaut, and he loved it, and he actually won a prize. So I'm glad he had that experience, because now he remembers Halloween as being, fondly. So that's good. All right. I'm trying not to miss. How did Eve get grandchildren? Okay. So according to the Bible, Adam was created from the dust, right? And then Eve was created from one of his ribs. And then they procreated, and they had Cain and Abel. And Cain killed Abel? Yes. And then, well, that's how, I guess, how she had grandchildren, because they had children. And the curse, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh. It's just the woman versus the man thing was like her fault. So according to the Bible, the whole pain of childbirth came from the curse of the apple in the garden. And then man, their curse was to toil the land by the sweat of their brow. So like the woman's curse was pain of childbirth, and man's was that he had to work really hard. I'm just quoting the Bible, guys. But yes, and then it was like, be fruitful, multiply. And we were told that, like, when we got married, like, I think it was even said in our wedding, our wedding, um, service, like, you're pronounced man and wife, be fruitful and multiply. And I had 3 kids in 5 years, and then I was like, you know what? I'm done. That's it. I'm done. And I'm glad I had those 3, but yeah. Some people are believe in having more and more and more and more, the whole quiverful thing. Yeah, there's a whole, I'm just, like, scanning the chat here. There's a whole, genealogy, lineage, or whatever they call it, in the Old Testament and then in the New Testament. And I remember I think at the beginning of Matthew, which is the first book of the New Testament, is like, this begot this, begot this, begot this person. It's all men. And then, and then Jesus. How did the koalas get in the ark? Yeah. I had all those questions. Oh my God, Phil. Take this cow bag, all of you, and drink of it. It is the blood of the new and everlasting space call. Do this in memory of Ron. Oh my God. Oh, that is wild. This is fun. Oh, okay. Hi, everyone. Last night, Jeffrey Augustine said he would probably do a video. Oh, really? I didn't know that. It's funny. He's the next Pentecostal, too. We talked about maybe talking about Pentecostalism once. Maybe you guys could do a collaborate together. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, we did talk about doing something on along those lines. That's great. Sean, I've often said I never say why me, Lord. He might answer Long answer. Yeah. My adopted dad used to be like, "Why me, Lord?" Yep. Okay, I'm just scrolling. Oh, yes, this is good. Half. Yeah, tell the mega churches and televangelists that. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking that exact thing. They totally serve money and not God. Yeah, totally, totally. And then they call it faith. Insane. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the. Okay, I think. Sorry, I'm terrible at multitasking here. Yeah, I think I might have pulled this up before, but why can't you be alone? Yeah, well, that was the whole appearance of evil thing, you know. It was like I feel like the leaders had more of a dirty mind than the rest of us. So it's like I didn't really think of that, but okay, thanks. It's just crazy. Hey, Sybil. Hello from Utica. Hey there. I was raised Catholic. I find the church to be pretty chill, even though I disagree with some of the catechism. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, to each their own, but I just wanted to talk about like what the differences are in the basic tenets of Christianity and why I don't feel that they're compatible. And it seems like most of you say no as well, you know. All right. Oh, the chosen seasons aren't that long. Oh, okay, Maz. All right, maybe I'll be able to do it. I've been trying to choose between that and Seinfeld, and then I keep watching the news, which I should not watch. And then I've got some of my cult documentaries I've been watching. Jojo, question: Did you or Duncan want to leave first? That's a really good question, honey. If you're in the chat, I almost want to say both at the same time because we were talking about it and we were supposed to talk about that, but um hmm, that's a good question. I kind of feel like we both wanted to leave at the same time because there were things that happened that were just deal breakers for both of us, like how Marlene was treating our children and all that. Yeah, that was messed up. Girl, we could do a movie night together over a video chat while watching it. I've never seen it either for those reasons. All right, we should do that. Watching The Chosen together. Because Aaron asked if it's like accurate to the Bible. From what I could see from just the trailers and the overview, it does seem like it what is, but yeah, I think it might be. So, okay, the grandchildren thing. I think that they just inbred. I'm pretty sure that okay, to finish my answer, because I just thought it was assumed that they had more children than just Cain and Abel. But I think I remember a reference to Cain's wife, but back then they had to inbreed. So I don't think that Adam and Eve stopped at just having those two boys. I believe that they had to. I mean, according to if the Bible is at all, accurate in that way, as far as that family lineage, how do you call it? I can't how say it, but you know what I mean. Um, yeah, and they must have it must have been their sisters, I would think. So yeah, I completely, like, spaced out at your question, and I'm trying to remember if there actually is any reference to they don't really talk about the women as much in the Bible for obvious reasons. We kind of know how that goes, right? So I need to wobble over the fridge to eat the second to last piece of pecan pie. Oh, Duncan made pecan pie. Chosen is written from broad Christian perspective. Yeah, it seems like it was. Yeah. Okay, everybody. I'm not sure what is in store for the rest of the day, but I just wanted to come on and talk to you about this. I found it interesting. I hope you guys did too. So yeah, thank you. The older brother was Seth. Oh, the brother was Seth. Oh, okay. Yeah, I it's been a while, so I can't really remember all of it. But all right, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching to the very end, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, oh, Yankee, then you could click